I'm Hannah.
And I'm Matt Hannah.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hannahs.
And today we have a very special guest, Elijah Alvarez, the writer, director, and producer of an upcoming horror movie, Dorothy, The Haunting of Oz. Elijah, thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
We are so excited to get to talk to you about this very fun new project. So I was really excited when you reached out. To get the conversation going a little bit, can you tell us a bit more about the project in your own words?
Yeah. The film, it's a different take on the Wizard of Oz, right? Because like over the years, we've kind of seen a bunch of different like iterations on like this classic, iconic tale. And I feel like for this film, it's unapologetically, it's completely horror, right? Like it's gonna have a lot of gore, but although it's gonna have like a ton of gore, it's definitely like I would say like a vignette story, kind of like how like Weapons just came out, and with Weapons, like they had a bunch of characters, right? And like they told it like in chapters. I feel like my film, it does something a little bit similar, but not exactly. Like this film, because it's centered on a college campus, there's like a lot of characters in this film, and every kind of character has like a role in this movie, which is nice. So it's really kind of like a lot of genres into like one film is what I kind of aim for.
That's very fun. What motivated you to get into filmmaking and start this project? Because I know this is
Yeah.
your directorial debut.
Yeah. I would say like what motivated me to get into filmmaking was really like because I grew up in LA, so I've really kind of gone to the movies like my whole life, like since I was a baby. I would say like when I was 12, when I saw like Avengers 1, that's when that's when filmmaking, like that's when I knew people made films, like once I saw that movie, because I saw it like 5 times in the theater. And then after that, I saw Heat by Michael Mann, and like that like kind of that elevated, like because then it was like, okay, I'm watching Avengers 1, but then I go from that to Heat, and it's like boom, it kind of just jumped off from that point, because like then I knew like wow, like someone, you could write dialogue like that good, like it's just, that's when it just kind of like ignited. I was like 14, I started making like my first like kind of short films, and then from there kind of just kept going at it, for sure.
I have to say, having Heat as your big click moment is great.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that, actually.
Yeah, that makes
That's
a lot
like
of sense.
especially your jump from the first Avengers to Heat is really funny to me, because like just two completely different ballparks.
Right,
Yeah.
right. No, my
Well,
mom.
Heat's
Yeah.
a masterpiece. So
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like
Oh yeah.
I was kind of, not that I make film, but I feel like I had a similar journey. Like I remember owning Avengers on DVD and
Yeah,
being like,
yeah.
this movie kind of
Right.
rocks. Like look at these sequences, the acting, like all these
Yeah.
actors that are super
Right.
talented. And then I watched Her and I was
Mm.
like, oh,
Yeah.
that is what
Dude.
film can
Yeah.
really make me feel.
Yeah. That's so relevant to today too, that movie. Like that's
Oh
crazy.
my
It's
gosh. I love
crazy.
that movie so much.
Yeah. It's insane.
so you're 22, correct?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're a young man. So at what
Mhm.
age did you originally watch The Wizard of Oz? Do you remember?
I would say I was young. I was probably like in the third grade. I was like probably 8. I remember I was super young. Like I wasn't even 10, I was younger. But like that movie, because it's so like surreal, right? It has all like those dream sequences. I remember like I don't even, because like when you're young, you have like memories like in flashes. That movie, I remember like seeing like the yellow brick road, but like the biggest image that stuck out was I remember when the wizard, like kind of like that huge version of himself, like in that emerald room, right? When he's like green. I remember when I was young, like that was kind of like nightmare fuel. Like I was like, what the hell? Like that stood out to me, because I was like, and kind of intimidated because I was so little. I'm like, what is that? Like, and it was so big. Like in that film, like because it's so like it's so iconic and it's so old. I feel like what it does well that really holds up is it makes like Dorothy and all these characters super small, but it makes like I remember just Oz feeling so big, like on the screen, like how they photographed it, like it's crazy. Like the scope's really big in that movie, which is crazy.
Well, you kind of transitioned to my next question was, did The Wizard of Oz scare you the way it also scared me as a kid?
Yeah. No,
It
it's
sounds
no, for real. Because it's like, you know what it is? I feel like it's like a psychological thing, right? Like it's like you
Mhm.
see, like with horror, it's like when you see like something like Uncanny Valley, right? And it's like you automatically, it's like your brain is like, what is that? Something's wrong with that. I feel like that movie has a lot of those images.
Yeah,
you
Yes.
know?
It was the flying monkeys for
It was
me
the flying
Yeah.
monkeys,
personally.
Oh
yes.
man. Yeah. Hell
Yeah, they
no.
were
That's
very
crazy.
scary. I can't remember the last time I saw The Wizard of Oz, because even the
It's one
last
of
time
those
I saw it, I was probably creeped out.
it's one of those ones I've probably seen so many times but feel the same way. But it's like I can see the entire movie in my head almost
Right.
because you've just
I feel
it's
like
like
it's
such an
just
important film that I've
so
seen.
iconic.
Yeah.
You've seen all the images so many times because they've all impacted film so much.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
I was
Exactly.
just interested because, like I said, I mean, I just turned 30, and I do remember watching this as a kid more than once and seeing like a stage version of it. But I'm wondering if younger people are seeing this movie still today. So good to know that you saw it at a
Yeah.
young age and it's still being
And
shown.
not
Oh
that
yeah.
we're that much
No,
older.
No.
We're
Yeah.
still like a similar
I'm even
age
saying you.
bracket.
Yes, I'm saying, but like even now, I'm
Yeah.
wondering, are like
Right.
have 10-year-olds seen this movie?
Yeah, it is
of
interesting.
modern
Yeah.
age, like, or do they just have they learned about it through cultural osmosis?
Yeah, like
You know?
the Wicked movie. Is that
Yeah, I
all
mean,
they've
is
seen?
is Dorothy in
Right.
Yeah.
Fortnite
Right.
or what? Like, that's what I want to know. Is Alphaba in Fortnite?
We
Fortnite?
totally could have checked that before we got on.
Okay. And so, all of this being said, why did you end up choosing The Wizard of Oz as the basis of your film?
Yeah, I feel like the main thing was like I think just because I've seen like the past iteration. Like have you guys seen Return to Oz, the
I have
1985?
not actually. I've heard
It's
that's quite scary though.
it's horrifying. Like and it's what's weird is like it's a children's movie, but it's the same thing. Like a lot of like creepy like nightmare fuel images, but it's like I kind of looked at all those and it was like okay, like no one has kind of gone like you've seen I've seen films that kind of hinted to go that direction, but no one has really embraced like the full on fear factor, right? Which is like
Mhm.
that's what I'm aiming for. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Mhm.
and I feel like that'll it I saw like an opportunity to like make this film, right? Like Wizard of Oz horror, but then make something more than just that, right? Like actually include
Mhm.
hopefully memorable characters, like young college student athletes, and like that's really what excited me was the ability to merge like actual like human storytelling within genre, you know?
Mhm. So, what about horror as a genre was compelling to you as a filmmaker?
Yeah, I would say, my first horror movie I ever saw, I wasn't even a kid. I was 17 and I saw Get Out for the first time. That was my
Oh
first
my
horror movie
gosh.
ever.
Oh
Yeah,
my
and
gosh.
and it was like that was maybe what 2, 3 years after it dropped, like 2020, 2019. Like when I saw Get Out for the first time, I was like, what the hell? Like that I didn't grow up watching gore and stuff, but like I saw how Jordan Peele did that film and I was like, wow, like horror isn't just it's not just something. It was like it's never been something to me where it's just gore. It's like it's something like you could really utilize that genre and you could make it about, you could use metaphors. You could make it about different topics that we really wouldn't talk about like in film, right? Like racism, those little microaggressions, like just about society as a whole. But
Mhm.
then like not don't preach, but like just include it in the story to just make people think, you know?
Yeah, that's something I really love about the horror genre. I've talked about that on this podcast all the time. My
Yeah.
favorite horror films, I think, for the most part, are the films that are making this societal commentary,
Right.
right? Like, horror should be about these things that make us scared, disgusted, upset. And so,
Right.
what a perfect place to talk
Exactly.
about these really difficult societal issues like racism, sexism, etc.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
suburban fears as well. We always talk about that with
Yeah.
slashers. I was going to
Mhm.
say,
Mhm.
if that's how you feel about horror, I have a podcast for you to listen to.
Yeah.
That we talk
What is
about.
it?
It's basically what we talk about with all the
Yeah.
movies. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, I know you're on our show right now, but make sure you're listening." So obviously, The Wizard of Oz is in the public domain. How
Yeah.
would you say that your film it differs from other public domain horror films?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like, the Reese Frake Waterfield, the director of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 1 and 2, he really inspired me. I kind of went early, like on like a couple years back, just asking him for just like advice on like how he did it. And he gave me some really good notes. But I feel like with those, other public domain films coming out right now, like I love them. They're really enjoyable to watch, right? It's exciting. But, like, for with this film, it's a bit different just because, I'm really, like, highlighting the Gen Z student athlete modern day experience. In this film, people are gonna watch how young people communicate today. I feel like communication in movies is something super, like, super like underutilized. Like my favorite director ever is like Kubrick, and I feel like Stanley Kubrick, what he did so great was in all his movies, they're really about like the main story, but they're also about communication, right? You like Doctor Strangelove, like the that funny phone sequence, The Shining, how does a man communicate, with his family? And it's like this film is it really highlights just the internet, right? Because my generation, we truly like grew up in like the internet iPad
Mhm.
baby era, right? So it's like to see like we're becoming like we're getting older, right? In the early 20s, mid 20s, and it's like that hasn't really been shown before like on film yet, just because like we're still we're getting into our like 20s, early 20s, right? So it's like this film, it's really gonna show like the I would say the effect the internet has had on, like, my generation, you know?
I like that take, and I agree with you. I think one of the only films that I've noticed that has really gotten it right was Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Right,
And even
Yes.
right,
then, I think
yeah.
Hannah and I are just past that. Like we
Mhm.
grew up with iPads were not a thing when we were growing
Yeah,
up. So
but the internet
we yes,
certainly
the internet
was.
was.
Oh,
We
Like,
yeah.
grew up
I
in
was
a
on the computer
Yeah.
yeah.
from age 3.
Yes,
Mhm.
we
Right.
sit square in the middle between millennials and Gen Z, which was a very interesting upbringing, I would say, because we kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
saw that
We're
transition.
very
Right,
Because
much
we
cuspers.
grew up with VHS and DVD side by side,
right,
which
Yes.
is
and the
Yeah.
weird, right?
iPods too, right? The
Uh huh.
iPods?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
We
yeah,
had
oh,
the
yeah.
iPod
OG
Nanos.
iPods.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
but I saw you talked about that in the Bloody Disgusting article, and you brought it up here about
Mhm.
the Gen Z student athlete experience.
Right,
And for me, I don't entirely know what that means. So I wanted to know, like, what is that, and how does it
right.
differ from other generations?
I would say it differs a lot just because like, you have nowadays like with, college student athletes, a lot of D1 athletes, whether it's especially in basketball, right? Now you have kids going to these top universities and they're making, thousands of dollars because of the
Mhm.
NIL money.
Yep.
And it's like
Mhm.
all kind of like the previous generations, they've never had that, right? Like especially in basketball, like no one really, under the table maybe, but like openly, no one really got paid thousands of dollars. And like, that was never public, right? Like how much a college kid, student athlete is making at like a top program. So it's like with that, I really want to show like just how, monetization is really being like shown and just really being just open, right? In front of like these young college kids. And also too, with this film, it's also going to highlight like just the realism for student athletes that get injured and how do they
Mhm.
deal with sports injury, right? Because that's something like I feel like a lot of films and just media, they don't talk about like the, for every success story, there's like 99 failures, right? They always talk about the success story. And it's like with me, I want to talk about the thing that actual like most athletes can relate to, which is how do you deal with like the pressure when you get injured, right? Because it's like you're getting injured in a sport you've known your whole life, and it's like now it's like your world is it's just stopped, right? So it's
Yeah.
like that. I feel like that'd be really cool to like show audiences,
And the money aspect just changes all of it. That's like
right?
the big
Yeah.
difference.
Like
No,
the
that,
Right,
that makes sense. I
pressure
mean,
is so
right,
intense
yeah.
because the
It's
financial
like
benefit of
college
it.
football starting to actually compete with the NFL for viewership, which is like the NFL is
exactly,
not going to be happy about that.
Yeah.
So
exactly,
they're
yeah,
becoming competing products, which is not how it's been. So no, that makes total sense. I hadn't thought about it
yeah,
that way before. So
And
yeah,
that's you're right. Like that isn't something that I've seen in a lot of films. It's maybe something like we've discussed here and there,
yeah,
just talking
hmm,
about college sports and whatnot. But I feel like
yeah,
you don't see people actively having that conversation, but especially not in film. So I do think that's a really interesting avenue to be pursuing.
yeah.
In terms of the Wizard of Oz narrative, in
Mhm.
what ways do you feel like the original influenced your film? And in what ways do you feel like you're paying respect to the source material?
Yeah, I feel like the original film, it really I think what it did was it added like that super like that creep factor, especially with the witch. Like the witch is like right so iconic and Wicked, right, revitalized that for sure in the last like couple years. And I feel like with my film, it really like pays respect to like the classic witch, especially with how I'm really using that character in this film. The witch is a really integral piece like to this movie, to the whole plot, like,
Mhm.
and I'm not, even though it's like it's a Wizard of Oz horror movie, I'm not shying away from that. Like I'm really showing like the witch, Dorothy, they're gonna have a lot of screen time, kind of like like I love what like Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 1. Like it's a Winnie the Pooh horror movie. You know what you're getting into. You know what you're getting with that. And it's like with this film, I want to do the same. Like I don't want to shy away from I hate movies that they have like the title is something and then you never really see like it doesn't have that much screen time in the movie,
Mhm.
you know? Like so that's the big thing is like always give it the good right amount of scenes, you know?
Yeah.
So, outside of The Wizard of Oz, what other films or art did you take inspiration from when creating this film?
Yeah, I would say one of the like the main ones I would say would be most likely The Shining just because it's like so iconic, right? It's like it's the images like Kubrick used in that film like just so unsettling. Like and it's there's a reason I feel like with his films, right? Just cuz he's my favorite director, he used a lot of just subliminal messaging, right? Like you could analyze the hell out of each film and like you could do it. You could have a podcast about it, right? Like it's just
Mhm.
there's so many layers and I feel like this film I feel like it has a lot of layers. So like that's where I really get it from. And then also to I love like Spike Lee, like Spike Lee's visual style, like how he's another one. Like when I saw Do the Right Thing, I was like super that was like that was another film that really like kicked it in me like wow, like filmmaking, like you could really have like an actual authentic visual style and you could separate yourself from other directors because of just how he used lighting, how did he use like naturalistic lighting, how did he use like
Mhm.
costume, like it's so much like the aura in it is crazy. Like he has like
Yeah.
his films are so sick. And another one too would be Fruitvale Station, right? Ryan Coogler. Like
Yeah.
that's like a masterpiece. And what's amazing is like that was his like debut feature, right? He's shot it in the Bay Area. Like my film's a Bay Area movie. And like I think what's so cool about that is like he really showed like you don't need to have all the money in the world to make something good, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like to like filmmaking, how do you care how an audience cares about the project is you just got to have great characters and you got to have characters that have real emotions because like that is lacking in this in this film thing right now like I've I love movies that centered around actual authentic stories. So like that's a big
Mhm.
one.
Yeah. And those are some really great choices too for very
Thank you.
authentic stories.
Yeah.
So, we talked a lot about the student athlete part of this, and I do
Mhm.
find that really interesting and an authentic story. So, why bring in, I guess, The Wizard of Oz to that story? Do you feel that that can add to this student athlete story?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like for the reason, what's interesting is the that student athlete angle that came after I came up with the idea for a Wizard of Oz horror movie. I had a bunch of ideas like for how I wanted to tackle this, but I think like for me it's like okay, wow, it's like I was really passionate about both, the student athlete angle, but then the Wizard of Oz angle. So I was thinking like okay, wow, like there has like and then I thought about it like, okay, what if I just bring that into this Wizard of Oz genre, this crazy genre, and like that's how it came about because honestly I was thinking of both subjects at once like it was like two separate entities and then I'm like okay I just what if I just merged them together and then I wrote it and then after I was like reading it I'm like wow like for some reason like in a weird way this actually it kind of works right like on the script like on the page like I'm like wow like it's not so far-fetched right and I was going through it I'm like okay like I like that it's this combination of genre like how it like with Sinners, like he used so many different elements of different genres and put it into one film. And it's like with this film, like it's like coming of age, it's horror, it's psychological, it's like romance, like it's all these things, and it's like for some reason in a cool way it fits. I feel like
Yeah, very Ari Aster Midsummer of you, taking two scripts and turning it
Yeah,
into one. Hey,
really.
it worked out for him. So,
wait, he
Yeah,
did
what
that?
was I think it was supposed to be a breakup movie, and then they also wanted him to do a movie set in like Sweden or
yeah, they
in
wanted to make
Europe,
like a Swedish horror movie, and he took the script about
and
his
then
breakup
they
movie and combined them.
combined.
Wow, I didn't
Yeah.
even know that. That
Mhm.
makes sense though. That's crazy. You
Yeah,
know
And
what's
it
weird though?
is
It fits. It fits.
it
very
fits
much
so
so.
well,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
honestly one of the most
yeah.
iconic horror movies of the
Oh
last
yeah.
Yes.
decade.
Oh yeah.
Well, and we know, as you said before, The Wizard of Oz is very iconic, especially with its imagery. And I've seen some screenshots of
Oh,
your movie, or
yeah.
which we say
That
stills of your movie,
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
from the
that have just
article.
absolutely amazing makeup design.
Oh,
So I want to
thank
know
you.
who is your makeup artist and how did you collaborate with them to design this?
Yeah, my makeup artist, she's the best. She's 22 years old. I would say like she really she her name is Angela Cervantes. She's from LA like me, and like she's like a genius. She's a pro. To me, she's a pro. Like even though she's so young, the talent is like peak. Like literally she could we've been collaborating for probably I want to say around 7 months ago, and like literally she doesn't let me down. Like I honestly think what's nice about that collaboration, the that witch design, it was my design, but what's nice about how we work is sometimes I'll give her ideas, and then sometimes I'll let her, come up with amazing concepts and she'll just nail it. So it's like a bit of both. Like she has her own genius ideas, and then I'll have like my preconceived concepts, and it just works. Like we work really well.
That's great. And I'll say anyone listening, you should go look at some of these stills from the
Yeah.
film, because that witch design's great. I
It-
loved
Thank you.
your Scarecrow and Tin Man as
yeah,
well.
they
Thanks,
were
man.
The
scary.
witch specifically, especially if that's coming from your brain, I think is so
Thanks.
simple yet effective. And so
Right.
and just the way it looks and the sheen that she was able to give
Yeah.
it, I was really
Yeah.
impressed by. So
And obviously, horror creature or character design is so important. There's so many movies where you watch and you don't see the creature and it's very scary. And the second you see them, if the
Right.
design doesn't live up, you're like, oh, that took
Exactly.
away a lot of the scare factor. And
Yeah.
that is not going to be a problem for your film based on
Thank
those
you.
designs. They look great.
you got to
Thank you
love it
so
being
much.
practical too.
Oh man, hell yeah.
Tangibility is going to really work for me, especially. I know you're obviously going to be working on low budget as
Mhm.
self-financing and producing.
Right.
So I think that's the first big step. And so to see
Yeah.
that's a big green flag for me.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
So, on our show, whenever we review films, we give 15-second summaries for each film that we watch. So, what would be your 15-second pitch for your film?
Okay, that's great. Let me start like right now. Okay.
Okay.
Ready? All right.
Yeah.
So, 15 seconds. My film is centered around college student athletes in Marin County, California. They're being tormented by Wizard of Oz characters, but they're also facing sports injury by their own inner demons.
Ooh.
All right.
Okay, I like it.
That
It
only
was
took you like 10
perfect.
seconds too. So.
Yeah, you nailed it.
That's great. Oh my God. Like that's like that. I should use that like when I make log lines for scripts, just like 15 seconds and then just that's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, it was pretty convincing 15 seconds. It's better than half of what I've been coming out with on the show.
That's funny.
So, when is the film releasing and where?
Yeah, so I'm talking to a couple of distributors. I honestly, I'm the film, it's still being cut, but like I want to say between summer and October it'll be releasing, and um I do have a lot of like marketing tactics and like things we're gonna do to like get this film out like as soon as next month, like March. Like I have a lot of like just um like cool things like I'm gonna put out like into the real world, and like because the film is like about the internet and social media, and it's about all these young people. I really want to like pump that out there into like TikTok and like just online. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I feel like when the film is about like all of the online presence,
Right.
using that to market
Right.
the film makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, this will be hopefully all over our TikTok and our pod. So
Yeah,
we're doing our
I'm
best to help.
hoping. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like even like do you guys remember when the Smile marketing came out?
Mhm.
That's what I was thinking about.
We're gonna do
Yeah,
stuff. We're gonna try to do stuff like that.
that's
Like
a lot of
it's
fun.
gonna be crazy. Yeah, I'm excited.
Creating viral moments, things like that.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Easy. I mean, and from a lower budget, I think
Right.
that makes a lot of sense. So
Yeah.
And it connects
Yeah.
really well with the subject matter of the film. So that's
Wow.
awesome.
we'll be waiting on our mail on the premiere tickets
We'll be-
out in LA.
We'll be
So,
waiting
I got
patiently.
yeah, waiting
I
patiently,
got you.
or a review copy, whatever you want. You know.
No, for
We'll
sure.
be
I got
waiting
you
for our
guys.
screener. Well, before we wrap up, is there anything else you feel like you didn't get a chance to say that you'd like to say about the film or the experience?
Yeah, I would just say like for anyone watching, just be on the lookout for it. I feel like it's going to be something like super different like that you haven't seen. in like the last decade, just because of I'm covering new ground with these characters, especially these college student athletes, and I feel like it's going to be a new angle that hopefully people are like going to be excited to watch. So yeah.
Awesome.
And what's next in store after this? Or are you just focused on this?
Right now I'm focused on this, and then and then pretty much though I'm doing two features. I have a producer for my third one.
Ooh.
I'm gonna do that in New York. I'm gonna do that like in May and June. That's gonna be like thriller kind of horror, and we're using practical makeup effects. Like we're gonna have my makeup artist come out there. That's gonna be fun because like for that I'll have like a bigger budget than like with this one.
Yeah.
And like it's gonna be nice because it's gonna be like another practical effects, like something people have not seen before with the concept I'm going for. It's just I gotta get the script right. So yeah.
All right. Well, you better call us back up for another interview when that one gets going.
Of course, yeah.
'Cause we're
Thank
not
you
too
guys
far
so
from
much.
New York either. We're over in Philly, so.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
we're
Nice.
nearby.
Hell yeah.
And where can our listeners find you? Are you on the socials?
Yeah. You guys could follow me on IG at Eli Jordan Alvarez.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you so
thank you so much. This was
for
great.
taking the time to
Yeah,
join
thank
us.
you guys so much. This was great. Thank you guys.
So everyone out there, make sure you go and keep your eyes on the lookout for Dorothy, the Haunting of Oz. And yeah, buy your tickets wherever you can. Once they're out, keep your eyes open. That's it.
Yeah.
Anything else? We're excited. So
Yeah. I think that's all for today.
Yeah.
Make sure to give Elijah a follow and stay tuned and stay scared. Thank you for listening to Horror Hour with the Hannahs. Make sure to listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever else you can find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube, where we post episodes and shorts. You can follow us at Horror Hour with the Hannahs on TikTok and Instagram, as well as at Horror Hour on Blue Sky for more content. If you like the podcast, please follow and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app. Happy hauntings!